Week number 6 of the NFL season, of course, here on the channel. We are predicting every single NFL game this season, and of course, this is the 6th week of that. Folks, if you haven't yet here on the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more NFL picks here on the channel. It really helps out the channel a lot if you do leave a like and hit that subscribe button. Yesterday, we posted our college football predictions. It's one of the biggest college weeks of the entire season. How Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Oklahoma, LSU, Ole Miss, Penn State, USC, Kansas State, Colorado. Some huge games coming on the college football slate this week. So make sure to check out that video. Link is in the description down below after you're done watching this one. Also in the channel, we posted earlier this week our Tatsuro Taira versus Brandon Royval UFC Fight Night predictions from the UFC Apex. Go check that video out. And then about a week ago, we posted our ALDS and NLDS predictions. Of course, the ALCS and LCS are coming up, so we're going to be posting that video shortly to the channel as well. Let's get into the NFL schedule. We start things off on Thursday Night Football in Seattle. We have got the San Francisco 49ers going to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. I'm taking the 49ers. Okay, the 49ers, if they lose this game, I am willing to say the 49ers are just a bad football team. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it right now. Because, this is a team that at one point in time you're looked at, of course, the NFC champions last year. They start the year, they beat the New York Jets, which is a win that, hasn't really aged the best, if we're being honest. But, they come back, they lose, obviously, to the Los Angeles Rams. They bounce back, they beat the Patriots, but now they lose to the Arizona Cardinals at home. That's just a bad loss. They had that game and they blew it. They had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, and Arizona came back and won the football game. Now you get them versus the Seahawks. Now, the Seahawks, this is a team that just lost to the Giants last week. So again, what to expect in the NFL at this point in time, I don't know. It's just, some of these games are just so weird. Again, the Seahawks were 7.5-point favorites against the Giants at home. No Malik Neighbors, no Devin Singletary. So the Giants were without their best receiver, their best running back, and they win? I don't know, they fell down 7-0 early in that game and they came back and won it. I don't know, the NFL is just really weird this season, I'm not gonna lie. But give me the 49ers. Again, they eventually have to get going. Brandon Ayuk had a good game last week. You've got to think that the 49ers are going to build off that this week as well. Again, they are just the better team, at least on paper, and both these teams are coming off bad losses last week. Geno Smith is nothing but a game manager to me personally. I don't think Geno Smith is the greatest, but he does what the Seahawks need him to do. Brock Purdy, again, I still think Purdy's playing really well. I don't think it's his fault. Obviously, I would say Purdy has been the best part of this 49ers team, even in the losses. Again, I would like to make the comparison Brock Purdy to Russell Wilson, a prime Russell Wilson. Give me the 49ers to win. I'm a little bit concerned with it being a Thursday night game and it being on the road for the 49ers and on a short week. But I'm going to take the 49ers to win, and I'm going to take them to cover as well. I think they can pull out of it. I don't think San Francisco loses back-to-back games in the division. So give me the Niners. Again, if they lose to the Seahawks, they would have lost to every single team already in the NFC West this year. The reigning NFC champions. Yeah, the Niners have to win. I think they got to. Give me San Francisco. Next up, we go to the London game. The Jaguars are at home in London. I mean, they're traveling to London to take on the Bears. Give me the Bears. Now, okay, I don't usually pick the Bears. I think this might be the first time I'm taking the Bears all season long. I'm going to finally pick them here just because the Jaguars I still don't think are very good. Yeah, okay, they beat the Colts last week, but the Colts are literally cursed in Jacksonville. I mean, they haven't won a game there since Andrew Luck was playing quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. So I'm willing to say that's more just, tricky dicky shenanigans in Jacksonville. No, on a real note though, Trevor Lawrence played really well last week, and that was Trevor Lawrence's by far best game of the season. Brian Thomas had that big receiving touchdown. Tanks Bigsby ripped off a couple big runs. As someone who has Travis Etienne in fantasy, it's not the greatest, but it's fine, right? Tank Bigsby is running the ball really well. I just think the Jaguars are a little outgunned in this game. I think the Bears just all around the better football team. Now, again, the Jags are used to this London game. They literally play it every single season, so maybe, again, I made the joke that it's a home game for the Jaguars, but legitimately, again, they go there all the damn time. They are here every single season in Chicago. So there's that, in London, rather than the Bears. But I do think the Bears win the football game. Caleb Williams has been getting better. I'm not going to lie. Williams has been much better throughout the course of the season. I do like, again, DJ Moore's getting the ball a lot. They still do not get Keenan Allen involved, but, DeAndre Swift has been much more involved in the offense, at least as of late. Again, DeAndre Swift's been getting the ball a lot. He's been making the most of his carries. And I think the Bears are the better football team this week. Again, I pick against this team every week, but the Bears looked really good last week against Carolina, and I am someone who doesn't think the Panthers are actually all that bad, and I think the Bears looked really impressive in that game. Caleb Williams made some really nice plays, and again, if Caleb Williams can start to put it all together, limit the turnovers like he's been doing recently, I think the Bears are going to be a pretty decent team this season. So give me Chicago. Again, I usually don't pick the Bears, but give me the Bears to win. Not a home game for them, but technically it is in London for the Bears. I think they go out there and win it. I think they cover the 2.5 as well. Next up, the Arizona Cardinals take on the Green Bay Packers. I'm taking the Cardinals to cover, but we're taking the Packers to win the football game. Now, the Cardinals, again, they have been, they comeback kids this season. They keep on coming back. Actually, they've only done that once, but still, I don't know why I thought they came back against the Bills. They didn't. They ended up losing that game. But anyways, Arizona, surprisingly looked good last week, right? They get off to that early start. Kyler Murray rips the 50-yard touchdown. They fall behind. You're thinking, okay, they have the block field goal for a touchdown. You're thinking, all right, it's just not going to go the Cardinals' way. But no, they come back and beat the 49ers again in stunning fashion. The Niners are now 2-3, and look at the Cardinals now. They go on the road to Green Bay, Wisconsin to take on the Packers. I think the Packers are slightly just better. Just all around, Green Bay is the better team. You saw a huge game, probably the best game any tight end has played this season for Tucker Kraft last week. Kraft had a 60-yard touchdown. He had another touchdown later in the game as well. Kraft played lights out for Green Bay last week, and finally the Packers win a game with Jordan Love, which again, I never said that I never said that Malik Willis was better than Jordan Love, but I just want to make the case again last week that, Malik Willis had one this season. He's 2-0 for the Packers, and you're going to Jordan Love, who I don't know where he is, at least injury-wise, and he's 0-2 this season with Green Bay. But the Packers are definitely are a much better team with Jordan Love, and they should be able to move the ball downfield against this Arizona team. This Arizona defense is not the greatest. Especially with all the weapons that the Packers have. And, I really like Tucker Kraft a lot. You're going to see Jordan Love really get the ball to him. He's probably, I would say, Love's one of his favorite targets, if not his favorite target out there. And don't get me wrong, I like what Arizona's doing. I really do. I really like what Kyler Murray's putting together. I think, again, this has been Kyler Murray's best season since that year that Arizona started off 11-0 and lost in the wild card round to the Los Angeles Rams. This is one of the better Cardinals teams we've seen in a minute. Unfortunately, I just think they're a little outgunned in Green Bay. I think the Packers can just score the ball more. I think the Packers' defenses should be able to hold up at times against Arizona, even though, again, the Los Angeles Rams last week had a lot of success moving the ball downfield against the Packers, and the Packers just kind of kept them in that game. And now, again, I have my gripe with the Los Angeles Rams because, I feel like I can never get a pick right picking a Los Angeles Rams game, even though I think we actually did last week for the first time, which is great. But give me the Green Bay Packers to go out here and win this football game against the Arizona Cardinals. I think the Cardinals do cover just because I think 5 points is too much for a Cardinals team that will score, a Cardinals team that even if they fall behind, they are going to stay in the football game and they are going to, again, try to put up points. And this is an explosive offense to an Arizona that can score at any moment. So with all that being said, I think the Cardinals stay in the game. I think they don't lose it by more than 5 points. I think they lose the game by a field goal. But give me the Packers ultimately to go out there and win the game. So Packers to win, Cardinals to cover. Great teams win. Better teams cover. Good teams win, great teams cover. Next up, the Eagles come off the bye week to take on the Cleveland Browns. I just think 9 points is too much. I think it is. Oh, the Browns got killed by the Washington Commanders last week in Washington. Sure, the Commanders might have one of the best offenses in the NFL. Jaden Daniels should be looked at in the MVP race right now. The MVP race right now to me, personally, I can get an order. I'll give an order. Baker Mayfield, Jaden Daniels, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Those are my top 4 right now in the MVP race. Sam Darnold 5. That's not the reason the Vikings are winning, but Darnold has been playing well. I'll give him that. I will get to Jaden Daniels when we get to the Commanders game, but that's how great Jaden Daniels is. Okay, Jaden Daniels right now is one of the top 2 guys I think in the MVP race. Obviously, will that hold up for 18 weeks? Probably not. But again, that's how well Jaden Daniels has been playing. Back to this game, I don't think the Browns are that much. I don't think they're outgunned that much in this game. I think they're going to lose. Don't get me wrong. I have no doubt in my mind the Philadelphia Eagles win this football game. 9 points feels a little extreme to me. I'm just saying. This is an Eagles team that's coming off that loss to the Buccaneers. They had the bye week. Now, they should be healthy. Devontae Smith should be playing. A.J. Brown should be playing. So if those guys are playing again, it does change the game for Jalen Hurts and this Eagles squad. Hell, I have gone all in on Jalen Hurts now in fantasy football. I traded Baker Mayfield away to solidify Jalen Hurts as my guy in fantasy football now, which I don't know if I should have done that, but it's fine. Anyways, I think the Eagles, again, should be able to win this game. We got to see at I'm not concerned of how Devontae Smith is going to play. That's a concussion. Devontae Smith should be fine. How will A.J. Brown play after being off for 4 weeks? Again, with that injury, I believe it's a hamstring, right? Or it's a leg injury. How is A.J. Brown going to play after that? I doubt A.J. Brown, has a monster game or whatnot. But of course, he's definitely going to be involved in the game plan this week. And for the Browns, again, they're just the Browns. Deshaun Watson, again, I don't think watching the Browns play, I don't think Deshaun Watson is the problem. Now, he didn't have his best game last week against Washington, but the Browns have bigger problems than Deshaun Watson. They do. They can't get stops on defense. Now, always the focal point of the Cleveland Browns was, their defense is great. But last week, their defense got dominated. You look at, their run game isn't good right now. Now, Nick Chubb should be back this week, so we'll see how that affects things. But give me the Eagles to win the football game. I just don't think the Browns are 9 points worse than the Eagles, especially an Eagles team that has struggled out the gates this season. They struggled in New Orleans, or that game against New Orleans. They struggled. They struggled against the Bucks. I don't think the Eagles are that much better than Cleveland. I think they win, and of course, again, getting their 2 receivers back are certainly going to help. But still, give me the Browns to cover this football game. But of course, the Eagles will go home and take it at home again at Lincoln Financial. Next up, the Patriots take on the Houston Texans. So Drake May's first start, obviously, is this week against Houston. That's great. That's why we're taking the Texans to cover the 7 points. Now, Nico Collins just got put on the IR. He's going to be out for 4 weeks with that hamstring injury. That's unfortunate, but at the same time, they still got Stephon Diggs. They still got Tank Dell. I would think we're going to see an extended look at their tight end, of course, in Dalton Schultz, who has kind of just been, he gets 2 catches a game, which I think is kind of ridiculous for a really good tight end in Dalton Schultz. But Houston goes to New England for this football game. The Patriots, they lost the absolute dog crap bowl last week against the Miami Dolphins. Again, that was just a horrible football game that Miami got out of it. A huge win for Miami, by the way, because they're 2-3 now. They're going into the bye week this week. They have to play one more game in Indianapolis without Tua Tagovailoa. I don't think they win that game, but still, that means they're going to be 2-4. That's doable. If they were 1-5 after that game, the season's over, right? So it was a huge win for Miami to get that one on the road against New England. Now the Patriots come back at home to take on the Texans. I just don't know how effective this offense is going to be. There was the whole rumblings about Ramondre Stevenson got benched, but then all of a sudden he's still getting the most carries. He's the one ripping off the big runs instead of Antonio Gibson. So I would assume, again, Ramondre Stevenson has been put back in that role for New England. But Houston's just a much better football team. They just are. You saw how the Texans beat the Bills last week. Close game, sure. But again, Houston's going to score. C.J. Stroud's playing really good football right now. And the Texans are probably the best team in the NFL right now that people aren't talking about. This team only has 1 loss so far this season. They're really playing good ball. We will see the injury status of Joe Mixon. He has not played in a couple weeks. So it's been Dare Ugumbawale. That finally got it. Yep. Ugumbawale and Cam Akers. It's been those 2 backs for Houston. I would assume, again, Joe Mixon, I think, is close to coming back. I don't know if he's going to play this week. If he's not, again, it will be that 2-headed monster. Akers usually running the ball. Agumbawale receiving the ball, or being the pass-catching back. But despite that, again, the Texans have been winning games without Joe Mixon. And the Texans are just the better football team. They have the better defense, too. Drake May, again, in his first game playing the Houston Texans, that's just rough. And that was the whole reason, of course, Jacoby Brissett was still starting, is because, the Patriots had some tough games to play. I thought they should have started Drake May last week against Miami, because, again, that is a game you can kind of ease him into. Miami is not the greatest team. The Patriots definitely had a chance of winning. They have no chance of winning this football game. Unless Drake May has this, historic start to his career, or he plays his first game like Brock Purdy played his first game, the Patriots are not going to win this one. Houston should blow them out the water. The Texans are the way better football team, and they should go out here and win this game. So give me Houston to cover 7, and of course, they are going to go out and win the game outright as well. Next up, we've got the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Tennessee Titans. So many questions I have about this football game. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. My pick I will give my pick right now, and I'm going to explain why this could change. I'm taking the Colts to cover 1, obviously, and win the football game. Okay. Who's playing quarterback for either team? I don't know. Is Anthony Richardson healthy? Now, I want to go on my little spiel about how Joe Flacco is better than Anthony Richardson. He just is. I like AR a lot, and I think AR is going to be a pretty solid quarterback someday in the NFL. Joe Flacco right now is way better. Joe Flacco went, 35 for 45 throwing the football last week, 360 yards, 3 touchdowns. Again, Flacco does check it down a lot, and that's why the completion rate's so high. I understand that. But when the game's on the line, Joe Flacco is one of the better guys you can have right now in the league. And it's just, again, Flacco's been there, done that. And the veteran experience out of Joe Flacco wins him football games. You look at the pocket presence, and I understand he got sacked at the end of the first half, which gave Jacksonville 3 points. I understand that. But the pocket presence out of Joe Flacco is pretty solid. Again, he knows when, again, you saw that big 22-yard run in the fourth quarter when he needs to step up in the pocket. Okay, Flacco can take off, and Flacco can get that first down and get more. Again, he's a 39-year-old dinosaur, but Joe Flacco is still playing great football. And I think it was apparent, obviously, last season with the Cleveland Browns that Joe Flacco is still a starting caliber guy in the NFL. I don't care, he's 39 years old. He should be a starter in this league. But I think it's kind of ridiculous that the Colts have looked better the last 2 weeks. I understand they lost last week to the Jaguars, but that wasn't Joe Flacco's fault. Joe Flacco is not the reason the Colts didn't win that football game, okay? They couldn't get their run game going, and their defense, simply put, just couldn't stop Trevor Lawrence. They couldn't. They had no answers. Joe Flacco got them back in that game. He tied them up with a minute left to go, and that was too much time for Trevor Lawrence to get the Jaguars into field goal range. Unbelievable, right? Now, again, Michael Pittman still hasn't gotten involved that much. He had the touchdown in the first quarter, but again, Joe Flacco's really working the short passing game, which is effective, especially when their run game wasn't really all that effective last week. Now, they went with that combination of Tyler Goodson and Trey Sermon, obviously, with the Jonathan Taylor injury. I assume Taylor's going to be back this week, which only helps Indianapolis. But I think okay, long-term, obviously, you want to play Anthony Richardson, right? You want to play Anthony Richardson because, again, he's going to be your guy of the future. AR is going to be the guy, again, you picked in the first round of the draft. He's, again, Richardson's your future. But if you want to win right now, Joe Flacco is your best option to win. And I feel very strongly about that. I do think Joe Flacco is the best opportunity for the Indianapolis Colts to win football games this season. Now, we got to talk about the Tennessee Titans because the Titans are coming off a bye week. Obviously, they played on Monday Night Football 2 weeks ago. In the game that they won, they did beat the Miami Dolphins to pick up their first win of the year. Will Levis gets injured. He gives us another all-time moment where on the bench, Will Levis, every week there's a meme with him. Let's see if I can remember all of them. It starts with week 1, after he throws the stupid pitch, interception. Week 2, it's him trying to lateral it on third down when the play was basically over and he's diving for it. Week 3, it's Will Levis getting absolutely, obliterated by a defensive tackle on a sack where he just gets pushed back. And then week 4, it's a groin injury, I think, for Will Levis. He's on the bench and he goes, Will Levis is he's on an all-time run. He's on an all-time run. Shout out to Will Levis. Again, he is on an all-time run of memorable moments to start the season. What memorable moment will we get in week 6 for Will Levis? I don't know. I'm excited. We're going to get a memorable moment no matter what. But there's a chance Will Levis doesn't play this football game. Levis is questionable this week. I don't know. You're going to say, oh, well, Mason Rudolph won the game for the Titans. Guys, no. They are much worse with Mason Rudolph. The Titans don't throw the football at Mason Rudolph. They don't trust Rudolph to throw the football. And Levis is going to turn the ball over. Will Levis is not that bad. I really don't think he is. I think Levis is still in his second year in the NFL. He still has not played a full season in the NFL. Will Levis is going to be fine. Will Levis is going to be the guy for the Tennessee Titans. And I truly believe that. I think he just needs to get put in the right spot. Or at least, they need to... No, actually, that's not a spot thing. That's just Will Levis needs to stop making stupid decisions with the football because he does do that. Will Levis to me is playing right now like a rookie Josh Allen. I'm not saying he's going to be Josh Allen ever, but like if you watch the Buffalo Bills wildcard game when they play the Texans, Josh Allen's rookie year, he makes a stupid mistake, tries to lateral the ball at the end of the game. Like it's just that's kind of what Will Levis is kind of looking like right now. I don't know. Again, will Levis ever be a guy even similar to Josh Allen? Obviously, they don't play the same, but like will he ever be on that level? I don't know, but. If Mason Rudolph's playing this football game, the Colts are going to absolutely obliterate the Titans. Tennessee does not trust Rudolph to throw the ball. So when Rudolph's in the game, they are very run heavy. It's a lot of Tony Pollard. Pollard got 20-some carries on Monday Night Football. And again, if Rudolph's in, then no, DeAndre Hopkins is not a threat anymore. Calvin Ridley's not a threat anymore. They don't throw the ball with Mason Rudolph. Full bye week, I assume they're going to be somewhat prepared, but still, the Titans are going to be very run heavy if it's not for if Will Levis doesn't play this week. And the Colts, guys, they're just better with Flacco because Richardson can't move that offense like Flacco can. Sure, Richardson's going to hit you with that big play. He's going to throw that 60-yard bomb or he's going to rip off a 40-yard run. Richardson will do that. But in terms of moving the ball consistently, Joe Flacco's better. Joe Flacco's much better. He's way more accurate. He's going to, find, the holes in the defense. He's going to check the ball down. The Colts are going to move the ball downfield. So many questions surround this game. If Mason Rudolph plays, it doesn't matter who the Colts quarterback is. I think the Colts win the football game. Now, if Joe Flacco plays, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. The Tennessee Titans. I think the Colts win the football game. The only combo where I do like the Tennessee Titans is Anthony Richardson starts for the Colts and Will Levis starts for the Titans. Then I do like the Titans to win this football game. So I gave you all the scenarios right there. I think quarterback play is huge in this game, especially again. Vegas has this game virtually even, so quarterback play really matters. Again, if Joe Flacco plays for the Colts, it doesn't matter who's playing the quarterback for the Titans. The Colts are going to win this football game. If Mason Rudolph's playing quarterback for the Titans, it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback for the Colts. The Colts are winning the football game. If Will Levis and Anthony Richardson are playing, though, I do like the Tennessee Titans to win the football game. Other than that, it's probably going to be the Colts. There's only one scenario where I think the Titans win the game. If it's AR and Levis. Every other scenario, probability-wise, again, the Colts will probably win this game. So give me Indianapolis to win. I did spend a lot of time on this one game, but I feel like there's a lot of things to talk about with Indianapolis and Tennessee. Sure, these are two very bad teams in the AFC South right now, but give me the Colts. I hope Joe Flacco plays. He's much better. Okay. Going to the NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the New Orleans Saints. Give me the Buccaneers. Again, Baker Mayfield, yes, is the number one guy right now in my MVP race. I think he's been playing lights out. And sure, he only had like 200 yards last week. Still threw for 3 touchdowns. He keeps the ball clean, or he doesn't turn the ball over. Baker's playing tremendous football this year. Shout out to Gus Swayze. I really like Baker. Baker is an elite guy right now in the NFL. He just is. Again, I'm just glad Tampa Bay gave him the shot. He's in the best possible situation for Baker Mayfield. And now they go on the road to New Orleans. Now, Tampa Bay's house of horrors over the last couple of years has always been New Orleans. It just has. Dating back to the start of the Tom Brady days, that was Tom Brady's first game as as a Buccaneer. They go to New Orleans and they lose, right? And that's just... Normally, Tampa doesn't play all that well in New Orleans. They have been playing better recently. Brady's last year was the first time he ever beat them. The Saints in New Orleans. I get PTSD from when Tampa went on the road to play the Trevor Siemian-led New Orleans Saints, and they still lost. Again, it's just Tampa Bay has always played New Orleans weirdly, and the Buccaneers usually always let backup quarterbacks kill them. Taylor Heineke, Trevor Siemian, these guys in the past have always played really well against Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay's defense is god-awful. They just are. It's a horrible defense. They can't... Okay. Tampa's always been a really good run defense. They got Vita Vea. They got Levante David. They've got these interior guys. They got Tryon Shoyinka. They've got guys who are going to, again, they are going to stuff the run. My problem with Tampa Bay's always been the pass game. They get obliterated, at least defensively in the pass game. They just do. Now, they're probably going to make Spencer Rattler look great this week. I think it's going to be Rattler getting the start over Jake Haener, at least that's what I'm seeing. So the cock commander, Spencer Rattler, will be getting the start here in week number 6. That's great. But it's a second-year quarterback, or no, a rookie quarterback, excuse me, getting the start for New Orleans against a decent Tampa Bay defense, at least a team that's going to bring pressure. And that's where better quarterbacks and guys, backup quarterbacks, not rookie quarterbacks, but backup quarterbacks like Taylor Heineke and Trevor Siemian, who have been here, who have done that, who have seen many NFL defenses, are able to pick up on the blitz that Todd Bowles is always going to bring. Todd Bowles is a blitz-heavy coach. Personally, I don't think Bowles is the greatest. I don't think he's a good coach at all. But that's what Tampa Bay is going to bring. They're going to bring heavy blitz. They're going to bring a lot of pressure, and they're going to try to, he's going to try to get to a rookie quarterback in Rattler here. I don't know if Rattler's able to pick up on that. Again, like veteran quarterbacks who have seen that in the past that have succeeded against Tampa Bay, who have come off the bench at the last second. Hell, even Andy Dalton one year when the Saints came to Tampa Bay on Monday Night Football, the one that, the 16-3 game that, Brady came back and scored 2 touchdowns at the end of the game to win. Right? Backup quarterbacks usually play well against Tampa Bay. I just don't know how a rookie quarterback and Rattler plays. I think Tampa Bay brings pressure. I think they get into Rattler's face and they really, again, disrupt whatever Spencer Rattler's got going on in this game. Again, this is an injured New Orleans team with, of course, Derek Carr not playing. We'll see. Rattler's going to have weapons, obviously. Olave's not getting the ball that much, but Rashid Shaheed has been the guy this year for New Orleans. Taysom Hill is questionable, but if Taysom Hill plays, I would expect Taysom Hill to go back into his Taysom Hill role, at least as that Wildcat quarterback, because they've really only been playing Taysom Hill at fullback this season. But if Taysom Hill's involved in this football game, if he's playing, he's got I don't know if it's a broken rib or just a rivet injury. Expect Taysom Hill to go back in kind of that, that gadget role where he's playing some quarterback as well. Give me the Buccaneers to win the football game and to cover the 3.5 as well. They've got the way better, weapons on offense. Godwin, Evans, of course, and Baker Mayfield are going to be able to kill this Saints team. They can't run the ball, by the way. They just can't, but Tampa's better. Next up, the game of the week. It is by far the game of the week. The Washington Commanders go on the road to Baltimore to take on the Ravens, the Battle of Maryland. Give me the Ravens to win the football game, but give me the Commanders to cover. 6.5 is way too much for a very good Washington Commanders team. Jaden Daniels is a top 3 quarterback at least this season. Jaden Daniels is playing that great right now for the Washington Commanders. He's the guy right now. And now, the Baltimore Ravens should have lost last week. 100% they should have lost to the Bengals, right? You see that game. Evan McPherson, Lamar fumbles where he messes up the snap, doesn't see the snap. Balls drops on the ground. Cincinnati recovers. The Bengals, and they go 3 and out on their next drive, but still they're in field goal range, like a 51-yarder, 52-yarder for Evan McPherson, which is cake these days for NFL kickers. And McPherson misses it. One big Derrick Henry run later, the Baltimore Ravens win the football game in overtime. Okay. Baltimore's back again. They look like right now one of the better teams in football. Obviously, they messed up early in they stumbled early in the year. They had that game where they should have probably beat the Chiefs, but then they lost next week to the Raiders. But they bounced back, back-to-back weeks. Most notably, of course, the Bills winning out last week as well against the Bengals. The Ravens, I think, should win the football game. Derrick Henry, all of a sudden, just looks like prime Derrick Henry once again. He does look a little bit faster than he did in his last year in Tennessee. Henry, I believe, is the leading rusher in the NFL. I believe he's the number 1 running back currently in the NFL as well, at least, in terms of stats-wise. Lamar Jackson, I mean, you saw that crazy play he made to Charlie Kolar where he scrambles 20 yards back and still finds a way to launch him in the end zone. Again, it was really only a 2-yard touchdown pass because Lamar circled back 18 yards, but Lamar Jackson is special. He is. And, in terms of who will actually win the MVP, is Baker Mayfield or Jane Daniels actually going to win the award? I could see Jane Daniels actually getting it. I'm not going to lie. I think, the NFL, voters would be fine voting a rookie quarterback and Daniels is the MVP. I believe I could be completely wrong, but off the top of my head, it would be the first time the Heisman Trophy winner last year wins the MVP the year after in the NFL. Again, I could be completely wrong of that, but I think that would be the case. I think it's got to be, right? At least in the last 30-something years. But I would say Lamar Jackson is definitely in the race to win the MVP as well. He's still playing lights out football. Of course, they're winning against the Cowboys a couple weeks ago as well. Baltimore is just the better team going into this game. Washington hasn't faced a team yet like Baltimore. I do think the Commanders will stay in this football game, though. Don't get me wrong. Of course, we know Washington puts up points. Look at their last 2 games because Arizona and Cleveland. They will definitely put up points. It's just a matter of how many can they put up against a good Baltimore defense. But a Baltimore defense that can be scored on at the same time. But, Baltimore's going to score on the other side, too. And the Commanders' defense hasn't seen an offense like the Ravens yet, a run-heavy offense, but at the same time, you have to deal with Lamar Jackson, who can, pass the ball really effectively and also scramble really effectively as well. Again, Baltimore is, as a whole, one of the hardest teams to game plan against, and it's just going to be tough, I think, for a Washington team, again, who has seen a lot of success early in the season, but now they go on the road to Baltimore, and again, it's the game of the week by far. Hell, NBC tried to get it as Sunday Night Football, but CBS said no. I think Washington loses, but I think they do cover the spread, so it can be plus 6.5 for the Washington Commanders. But again, the Baltimore Ravens go out and win the football game. Next up, we go to Denver. Guys, the Broncos run needs to stop. It needs to stop. Sometime. Can the Broncos finally lose a game? They've won 3 in a row against, the Raiders aren't great, and maybe the Jets aren't as good as we thought they were too, but the Buccaneers, a huge win 3 weeks ago, and they beat the Jets. And now they beat the Raiders. And the Raiders, we're going to talk about them in a second. Quarterback play was, a whole issue in that game for Las Vegas. Now, I don't think changing quarterbacks really helps them, but, that's neither here or there. The Chargers are going to put an end to this monstrosity, okay? Yeah. This Linsanity run by the Denver Broncos ends this week. It's done, okay? Bo Nix has not played exceptionally well football, but the defense carries him. Shout out Patrick Surtain, 2 picks last week. Of course, the horrible throw by Minshew in the end zone with Dylan Gardner. Why are we throwing that ball to Surtain? I mean, it's just, God, it was bad, the pick 6 for Surtain, but, which should have got called back on a holding, but it is what it is. The referees didn't want to throw the flag because they didn't think Minshew was going to be able to tackle Patrick Surtain, which I understand, but at the same time, if he's getting held, he's a tackler. I mean, Minshew was now a tackler on that play, but whatever. The Broncos defense obviously is one of the best in the league. They are. But at the same time, the Chargers defense is a really good defense. These 2 teams are playing incredible defense. You got the Harbaugh defense, obviously, with the Chargers. I think the Chargers, though, are going to be able to score more points against a good defense, and the Broncos will be able to score points against a good defense. Again, it's undeniable that both these defenses are really good. It's just a matter of what offense will actually show up. I think the offense that's going to show up is the Chargers, right? You got Justin Herbert, obviously. Dobbins has had 2 bad games back-to-back, but you got to think that Dobbins will get going eventually. The receiving core for the Chargers as well, right? We didn't see him last week on the bye week, obviously, but, Quentin Johnston's playing great football, surprisingly, in his second year in the NFL. Ladd McConkey's only going to get better and only going to improve. it's a young team with the Chargers, and it's a team that, again, is not equipped to win this season, but a team that is going to be good, and, 2 years out next year, and, 3 years in the future, the Chargers are going to be a really good team. Same with the Broncos, too. Their defense is only going to get better as well, but, I think Bo Nix kind of sets them back a little bit. Yeah, sure. Again, they won against the Raiders, but it's the Raiders. I don't care. That Raiders team was demoralized the second Minshew threw that pick, and they really could not come back from it. So give me the Chargers to go on the road to Denver and win again. This Broncos winning streak needs to end. The Broncos are not starting the season 4-2. It can't happen, guys. The Broncos cannot be the biggest threat to the Chiefs in the AFC West. Don't get me wrong. There's no way in the world that the Chiefs don't win that division. But the Broncos cannot be the number 2 in that division. I don't care. The Broncos, sure, they win 3 games. This team still does not win more than 6 games in the regular season. I sure hope they don't. The Broncos are not fun to watch either, by the way. Their defense is great. But I hate watching that team offensively. Bo Nix, I will stay hating on Bo Nix until Zach Wilson's the starting quarterback of this team. When Zach Wilson starts starting for the Denver Broncos, I will be the biggest Denver Broncos guy in the world. I will show up on this channel with the Denver Broncos jersey on. Until then, give me the Chargers to win, and the Broncos, simply put, are just not that good yet, okay? Give me the Chargers to win the football game. Next up, here are the Las Vegas Raiders returning to Vegas. I don't know why I thought this game was in Pittsburgh, because I could have sworn AB was going to be at this game, registering people to vote for Donald Trump, which, shout out to AB. What a guy. But this game's in Vegas. It's the AB Bowl, right? I mean, these are the 2 teams that had Antonio Brown at one point. Now, of course, Tampa and New England as well, but that's besides the point. When you think of Tampa and New England, you don't think about Antonio Brown. So, I'm taking the Steelers to win the football game. I don't really think that the quarterback change was all that necessary for the Raiders. I get it. Minshew wasn't playing the best ball. But as a whole, I don't think Minshew was the entire reason the Raiders were losing. Now, again, they were up 10-0 last week, and they throw the interception. Okay, it's horrible. It switched the game. It really flipped the entire game for the Raiders. They had that game. If they scored on that possession, 17-0, game's, not over, but starting to get to that point where if you put another score on them, the game's starting to get out of reach. So don't get me wrong. It was a horrible ball by Minshew. It was disgusting. Now, Aiden O'Connell doesn't fix this team, though. Again, it's like, I feel like a lot of these teams think, quarterback change is what's necessary. No, it's just, Aiden O'Connell is not going to be much better for this team. Hell, you saw O'Connell, and I get it. At the end of the game in the 4th quarter, O'Connell was moving the football for the Raiders, and they were scoring, sure. But O'Connell comes right and throws another pick to Surtain. I don't think this fixes the Raiders. And then there's Devontae Adams, too, which, this guy is never going to play football, it seems. I mean, it's ridiculous. Devontae Adams just waiting to get traded. He's barely healthy now. The hamstring is not an issue no more. He's healthy. He's just not going to play this week. So he's going to hold out, I guess, until he gets traded. Apparently, trade talks have slowed with both New Orleans and with the Jets, the 2 teams that Devontae wants to go to. Obviously, he wants to play with Derek Carr because their days at Fresno State. And he wants to play with Aaron Rodgers, obviously, because they're both in Green Bay. Now, again, I see why both of those trade talks have stalled, though. Robert Saleh, who we're going to talk about later with the Jets, got fired. I mean, the Jets are in turmoil right now. And then, again, Devontae Adams wants to go from this situation in Vegas to another messed up situation in New York with the Jets. I mean, what are we doing? Hell, Saleh got escorted out the building. Now, I'm going to fully talk about Robert Saleh and the Jets when we get to Monday Night Football. But, again, and then the Saints thing with Devontae, I understand why that is stalled, too, because Derek Carr's hurt. What, Devontae's going to go get traded and play for Jake Haener or Spencer Rattler? Now, again, Carr should be back in 3 weeks, but I see why the Saints are a little hesitant on making that move right now. I think the Baltimore Ravens should get Devontae Adams. I think that should be the team that should try to go get him, or the Washington Commanders. Those are the 2 teams that should get Devontae. Besides the point, though, Devontae Adams is not playing this week. The Steelers are the way better team. Justin Fields is playing really good football this season. Sure, again, they lost it at the end of the game last week against the Dallas Cowboys. That's fine. The Steelers are the way better team. Guys, the O'Connell-led, the AOC-led Raiders offense will not be able to score this week. The Pittsburgh defense is going to stifle them. They are going to make sure that, again, the Raiders offense will not get anything going. The Raiders offense is just not very good. Brock Bowers is the one, star, the one, good part of that offense. The rest of it's just lacking everywhere. Jacoby Myers is all right. Trey Tucker, I like a lot. He's a speed guy. I'm not just making this comparison. Well, actually, I am making this comparison because they both play in Las Vegas. Henry Ruggs. He's like a Henry Ruggs type guy. I don't know if he has the talent Henry Ruggs had at one point in time, but that's how good. That's like what Trey Tucker is for this offense. He's a Rashid Shaheed for the Raiders, right? It's either he has a great game or he gets 1 catch for 6 yards. This is kind of how he plays because they send him on deep balls every single route. The Steelers are just better, though. They have the better defense. They have the better offense, too. I believe that, even though, yes, the Steelers' offense gets kind of iffy sometimes with Fields, but I do think they can move the ball more effectively than the Raiders. I don't believe in the Raiders at all right now. I think the quarterback change doesn't help. Devonta Adams not playing doesn't help. Give me the Steelers all day long. They're way better. The Pittsburgh is the way better football team. Give me the Steelers to cover 3 and to win as well. Next up, don't know why this is getting the 125, the 425 spot, but it is. You have the Falcons and the Panthers. The Falcons, of course, coming off that 500-yard performance by Kirk Cousins on Thursday Night Football last week. So shout out to Kirk. He did the swag surfing or surfing, whatever. I don't know, the crowd surfing thing at the end of the game. That was cool, I guess, for Kirk. It's not like I had money on the Bucs or anything, but it's okay. Yeah, they should beat the Panthers. They should, right? I still am a believer in Carolina, guys. I am. Chuba Hubbard is playing great football. Chuba Hubbard is establishing himself as a really good back in the NFL right now. Now, Jonathan Brooks, I believe, comes back this week. Jonathan Brooks has not played yet in the NFL. He obviously was the running back last year for the University of Texas. He was pretty good last year at Texas. I don't know how involved he will be. I kind of think he just gets that Miles Sanders role for the Panthers because Chuba Hubbard's been playing so well. I still believe in Carolina. I really do. They just got off to a bad start last week. They did in Chicago. Andy Dalton's still the guy, obviously. Hell, Dave Canales gave that post-game presser and said, and then one of the reporters asked him, so, did you like what you saw of Bryce Young this week? Obviously, Young entered in the fourth quarter. Was that just, a development thing for Bryce Young? And he said, nah, we don't care about developing Bryce Young. We just didn't want Andy Dalton to get hurt. I was like, that's a crazy thing you could have said. You could have said literally anything about Bryce Young. Yeah, he's been improving in practice. We want to see him in there. I thought we'd give him the shot because he's been working well. No, we just don't want to get our 39-year-old quarterback injured, which 100% I respect. 100%. I'm glad they're not trying to get Andy Dalton hurt. But, come on now. You could have given any better answer to back your 23-year-old quarterback. But no, we just don't want to get the guy who's 16 years older hurt. But that's besides the point. I still believe in Carolina. I don't think Andy Dalton's that bad. I just think they got off to a really rough start in Chicago last week. It's all about how the Panthers start. Okay, they did start with the touchdown drive, but then they just fell apart. Dalton threw a pick. Things just didn't. They fumbled as well. It just, if they get off to a better start this week, and, yes, they scored a touchdown on the first drive, but if they can just have a better first half as a whole, I think they're going to be a lot better this week. Atlanta's the better football team. They're going to win, but Atlanta does play just a lot of close games. Look at Atlanta's every game this season. The win, every division game too, but really just every game the Falcons have played has been really close. I don't think they're able to get away from the Panthers by more than 6 points, because again, the Falcons are equipped to win football games. Don't get me wrong. They're going to win this football game against the Panthers, but they are equipped to win close games as well. Their defense is not the best. You see again, their tackling is abysmal, as you saw in that Tampa Bay game. They can't tackle anybody. I think the Panthers will be able to move the ball downfield. I think Dalton has his weapons, obviously, in Deontay Johnson and Xavier Legette. I think Carolina moves the ball downfield and they keep it competitive, but the Falcons win a razor-thin one. They win it by 3 points. Again, the Falcons' offense does stall a little bit once they get into plus territory. Obviously, again, their offense moves the ball downfield and they have one of the better kickers in the NFL. But again, Atlanta always plays tough games. They always play close games. That's why I think the Panthers cover this one, but obviously the Falcons go into Carolina and win the football game. Okay, on to another game of the week. This is another crazy game. The Detroit Lions come off the bye week to play the Dallas Cowboys. I have said this every week this season, and I will continue to say it. The Detroit Lions are the best team in the NFL. Simply put, the Lions are the best team in the NFL. They lost one game this season, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's fine. The Lions this week in Dallas are going to prove why they are the best team in the NFL. Okay? A year after getting absolutely robbed and screwed in that game on Monday Night Football last year against Dallas, where they said, he didn't report as eligible, but he obviously did. No, the Lions are going to win this football game after, again, they got robbed last year of a victory in Dallas. They are winning this game, and they're going to run the ball down the Cowboys' throat and win again. The Cowboys are, oh crap, they're running. Here comes David Montgomery. Here comes Jahmyr Gibbs. No, here comes Jared Goff pulling the ball. Boom, play action, touchdown. Jared Goff, guys, is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. I'm going to continue to ride this and continue to, say this every single week. Okay, actually top 4. I wouldn't put in top 3, but still, again, Jane Daniels was playing great this season. Baker Mayfield was playing great this season. But as a whole, the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL until proven otherwise, no order: Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Okay, Jared Goff is number 4. All right, Jared Goff is the 4th best guy in the NFL, and that was apparent last week when Jared Goff didn't throw an incompletion. Jared Goff had more touchdown catches himself, receiving touchdowns, than incompletions. He went 18 for 18. That's unheard of. Well, it's not. Well, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. Goff, 2 touchdown passes, 1 receiving. Jared Goff, again, is lethal. He zips the ball in there. Again, he makes the right reads at the right time. Jared Goff is that guy for the Detroit Lions, and at the same time, they have maybe the best run game in the NFL as well, with, again, Gibbs and Montgomery and that two-headed monster. Those guys know how to fit into their role, and they know how to win football games, and I get it. The Cowboys are coming off 2 back-to-back wins. They beat the Giants, they beat the Steelers. That's great. Guys, there's no team in the NFL right now like the Detroit Lions. They play great, I wouldn't say great defense. They play good defense. The Cowboys will be able to score, don't get me wrong. The Cowboys will put up points this game. But every time the Lions touch the football, it's trouble. Again, how do you lose a game? How do you beat a guy who doesn't throw an incomplete pass? And how do you beat a team that averages 4.5 to 5 yards a carry? That's what the Lions do to teams. And at the same time, they have absolutely crazy receivers too. You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's one of the best receivers in the NFL, and you've got a speed demon in Jamison Williams as well. It is so difficult to beat this Detroit Lions team. Detroit sports right now are on fire, actually. No, just the Lions and the Tigers, the Red Wings and the Pistons. No, definitely not. But anyways, I'm taking the Lions. I'm going to take the Lions in every single game they're playing in this season. Until proven otherwise, guys, I'm taking the Lions to win the Super Bowl. Okay, they are going to be the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys offense, sure, they're going to score points, but I just don't think their defense is going to be able to get a stop. I get it. They played good defense last week against the Steelers, but that's the Steelers. Now you got to play the Detroit Lions. Yeah, good luck with that. Give me the Lions to win the game. They're going to cover 3, and they're going to win with Tom Brady on commentary. Okay. Sunday Night Football, the Giants and the Bengals. I'm taking the Giants. Yep. Take the Giants at home. I don't think the Giants are that bad this season. I really don't think they are. They played the Cowboys somewhat competitively on Thursday Night Football a couple weeks ago. They had a game in week 2 where they probably should have beat the Commanders. They really should have. They just choked that game away. Malik Neighbors makes that grab towards the sidelines on, what was it, 4th or 3rd down. I don't remember. It affected the drive in a very negative way, though. He had a 1st down catch. Jones puts it right on him. He just drops it. If Neighbors catches that ball, I'm not saying Neighbors is a bad player at all. He's back this week, by the way, for the Bengals game, which is huge. If Neighbors catches that ball, the Giants beat the Commanders. And again, they won last week in Seattle. Now they get at home for Sunday Night Football. Now this game's horrible for Sunday Night Football. It shouldn't be here. At the same time, we got the 2-3 Giants versus the 1-4 Bengals. I mean, what are we doing? At the same time, though, I'm taking the Giants to win the game. Again, they are healthy now. Like, they went to Seattle and won. Daniel Jones gets too much hate. Daniel Jones is actually playing decent football this season. And now he's at home. Malik Neighbors is back, his top weapon. And he's got, of course, Devin Singletary back in the backfield as well. Tyrone Tracy played a really good game last week, though. And again, he had the fumble at the goal line, but I would expect to see Tyrone Tracy really involved going forward with the Giants. Just the Bengals, guys. The Bengals just find ways to lose games now. Yeah, arguably they should have beat the Chiefs. Sure, they probably should have. But they just choked it away last week. I mean, McPherson was kind of the one who choked it away. But I don't understand the conservative play calling from, the 37-yard line. The Bengals run the ball 3 times, don't even try to take a shot for a 1st down because McPherson's going to hit the 54-yarder. He missed it. You get him maybe 6 more yards, maybe he makes it. I don't know. Again, he just hooked it. But, I don't know. The Bengals just choked that one away to me. They were up for most of the game, and they just kind of blew it. And Cincinnati's got weapons, obviously. Joe Burrow's still really good. Chase, Higgins, they've got guys. It's just, I don't believe in this team to win football games right now. And the Giants right now have been finding ways to win. Given it's only been 1 week, but they found a way to win against Seattle. They played really good defense. They stopped whatever the Seahawks had got going. And, the Giants, even though they were in a position, I thought, where if the Seahawks made that kick and it didn't get blocked, I thought the Seahawks were probably going to win that game in overtime. But it did feel like for most of the game, the Giants were just in control. They fell behind 7-0, no problem. They get the football back and they score a touchdown. It's 7-7, and then they score again before the end of the half. And it's just, the Giants always felt like they were in control of that football game against Seattle. I think they're able to kind of do the same thing as the Bengals here. I think, again, they're going to control the ball a lot. And, again, I like their run game. I think it's gotten a lot better. And I think Daniel Jones really overhated. I think Jones is playing pretty decently this season. So with everything involved, give me the Giants to win the football game. At the very least, take them to cover 3.5. I think that's just too much at home. I think, again, if the Bengals win, they're going to win it by a field goal. So I'd take the Giants to win that game or to cover. But on top of that, I think the Giants straight up win. Plus 140. Give me that all day. Give me the New York Football Giants to win at home and beat the Cincinnati Bengals. I just don't trust anything the Bengals do right now. The Bengals defense just is very mediocre. The Giants should be able to move it downfield, and the Giants should be able to win the football game at home on Sunday night. Now, Monday Night Football. Okay, so I said I was going to talk about Robert Saleh and the Jets. That's the first thing we're going to talk about. Should Robert Saleh have been fired? I think they should have probably given Nathaniel Hackett his papers first. I thought that should have been the first move. Now, should Saleh have been on the hot seat? 100%. I've always said, I said this from the beginning of the season. I said this right after the Jets lost to the San Francisco 49ers. Zach Wilson was not the problem. He wasn't. Not at all. Zach Wilson was never the problem for the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers comes into the system, and Aaron Rodgers, I believe, the Jets were either 2-3 or 3-2 at this point in the year last year. I don't remember. I remember they beat the Eagles, they beat the Bills. I know they had the close game where they almost beat the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, where the refs kind of screwed them. They were either 2-3 or 3-2 at this point in time. They were 2-3. Okay. They were 2-3 at this point in the year. They beat the Bills, lost to the Cowboys, lost to the Patriots, lost to the Jets, but then beat the Broncos in week 5, and then week 6, they beat the Eagles. This team was 4-3 at one point after their victory against the Giants after the bye week. Then they lost a million in a row. It is what it is. But again, Zach Wilson had this team at 4-3. Aaron Rodgers has this team at 2-3. I am not saying Aaron Rodgers is a worse quarterback than Zach Wilson, but what I am saying is the problem wasn't the quarterback play, it's the play calling, and it's obviously not the defense, so it's the play calling. It's horrible. The Jets, again, and that's why ultimately I feel like that falls on Nathaniel Hackett. Now, they got rid of Saleh, which, again, the whole thing about them is escorting him out the building. I don't know maybe if Robert Saleh did something, if he said something, so they had to escort him out the building. I don't think that's the case. I think it was kind of an overreaction by Woody Johnson and whatever the hell's going on in East Rutherford with the Jets. That's neither here or there. But I thought Nathaniel Hackett probably should have been the one getting, let go first. But it's fine. It's okay. The Jets, they're just a mess. They're dysfunctional. That's all they are. They're just a mess at this point in time. And now they're going to play the Bills, who, has lost 2 in a row to the Ravens and the Texans. They're playing the Ravens and the Texans. Josh Allen, has kind of looked bad after he had that incredible 3-week run to start the year. Ever since, he just hasn't been all that great in the last 2 weeks. It's fine. It's the perfect bounce-back opportunity for Josh Allen. Again, the Jets play tough defense. The Jets did play him tough last year at MetLife on Monday Night Football. Again, the Bills lost that game to the Jets. Zach Wilson, shout out to him. Wilson was not the reason they won that game, but it's fine. The Jets have a chance to win this game just because, again, Josh Allen hasn't been playing all that well, but I do think the Bills win this game. It's just because, again, I don't trust the Jets to move the ball downfield. I just think their offense isn't very good right now. Rodgers did make some bad throws last week. Rodgers does not look like the same guy. I do think he'll be fine. I really trust in Raj. I think he'll be good for the rest of the year, but matchup-wise, it's horrible for the Jets. It's absolutely horrible for the Jets. And again, all this, you just got rid of your coach, and it's just, this is going to be rough. It's going to be real rough. Their defense, sure, is still playing fairly decently, but it's just their offense in the last couple weeks has not done anything of note. They've not scored more than 24 points this season. And it doesn't get much easier for them because next week they have to go to Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football against a really good defense. Yeah, this is going to be a tough year for the Jets. What does Rodgers do after this year? Lord knows. But this is rough sledding for the New York Football Jets. Give me the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football to win and to cover the 2.5 as well. So, folks, thank you for watching our week number 6 NFL predictions here on the channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. And make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more NFL picks every single week. Folks, thank you all for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. And Mamba